take one. We're going to do a full run through. All cameras should be sunk on this.
I'm checking out the video to Childish Gambino's or Donald Glover's This Is America. Today is Thursday. It is May 10th, the year is 2018. He just released this video. He released a very controversial music video. He released this video practically not even a week ago. How long was this video? Says it's released, it doesn't say, May 5th. So there's about the 10th, about 5 days ago. He released this controversial music video. I would say this video is probably a entertaining, strange, bizarre, yet horrific view of black culture, the United States, gun violence, how we've accepted it, and how we just go on with life. If you read the lyrics, it's just like everybody's just partying and dancing. Pretty much, I've did videos about we accept in the black community dysfunction as normal. And in that video, not just blacks, but the entire United States has accepted this gun violence and the murder, the millions of people being murdered by guns over the past few years. I would say millions, but a lot of people being murdered by gun violence. And we just go on about our everyday business, and we just ignore it as if it does not exist. I was reading the lyrics here, and the lyrics are pretty much just, I can get this thing to scroll, I don't know why I won't scroll, but the lyrics are just, dance, party, let's have a good time. We just want to party just for you. We just want the money just for you. I know you want to party just for me. Girl, you got me dancing. Yeah, girl, you got me dancing. Dance and shake the frame. We just gonna party just for you. Yeah, we just want the money just for you. I know you want to party just for me. Girl, you got me dancing. Girl, you got me dancing. Dance and shake the frame. You, Childish. And then he comes to catch the chorus. This is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Don't catch you slipping up. Look what I'm whipping up. This is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Don't catch you slipping up. Look what I'm whipping up. So in the midst of all this lyrics, so all this crazy shit, people getting shot, the choir being shot down. The choir being shot down and the police violence and all that. The choir itself was what happened in Charleston, north of South Carolina. I can't remember. Those people getting shot inside and killed inside that church. We know that we live in a very violent country here in the United States of America. White folks, let me say this. White Americans have a very difficult time understanding the role that they play in the violence in this country and what they have created here. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution this week ran a series of articles about lynchings that took place in Georgia and various parts of the South. To read that, and I read it every day, I had to sit down and go back and reread it again. The violence that took place during that period of time is shocking. The mob violence, just craziness. All led by crazy white folks. Don't forget that white folks today want to pretend as if they don't have anything to do with the issues you see in black America. But one of the things that article pointed out in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the blacks who were lynched back then were business owners, smart people, educated people who were trying to do something positive. One guy was shot and lynched because he had opened up a grocery store, and his competitor came and shot and killed him and lynched him. I mean, y'all have to read that article with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It was astonishing, the amount of violence that went on for years. Mobs just spring up in the middle of the night and go after somebody for just false accusations. But when you talk to white folks today, they're quick to say, well, I don't have anything to do with my ancestors. Did you know you don't have anything to do with what your ancestors did or what took place 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years ago or whatever, but you benefited from it. So a lot of whites don't want to accept that they literally, that violent behavior towards black from slavery on past slavery and into the 19th century and the 20th and 21st century, that violence against blacks created a lot of issues in our communities. I would strongly recommend that anyone, you have to read that article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution about the lynchings and murder that took place, the shootings. None of it made sense. These were just crazy white folks, just out to kill. So you look at that video that Charles Gambino and Donald Glover made. It is astounding. I'm not going to say the video is an eye opener, and it is very interesting to watch. I get what he's trying to say. I understand that the use of the violence in the video. There's always, look, we don't need a music video to know how violent these streets are. I live right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I can turn on the news and every day somebody's been shot and killed, and 2 people shot and killed. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We've accepted this violence, and I don't hear anybody talking about it. Nobody says one word. We just go on about our business, partying, going to the gym, going to work. This is as if we didn't hear about a 6-year-old kid getting shot and killed just a few days ago, and the house was riddled with over 30-something odd bullets, and the person who did the killing is now a 16 or 17-year-old kid. They're looking for him over a Facebook post. This happened right here in Atlanta. So we see this violence, we hear about the violence, but we just keep going because for most part, we say, well, it's not affecting me yet until it shows up on your doorstep, and it will eventually. I've been robbed, had a gun to my head numerous times in Atlanta. And I was lucky to get out of those situations alive and in good health and well without getting shot. Some people were not so lucky here in Atlanta. People I personally knew. My nephew was shot a few years back. Somebody robbed him and shot him. He was at 17, 18, 16 years. I don't know how he was. He was shot and he ended up in the hospital. And he almost didn't make it. So I look at these people, that video, and I just sat there and looked at it. We know America's a violent place. Those of us who are smart and got a brain upstairs, we understand what we're dealing with in the United States of America. It's a violent country. It's always been a violent. It was founded on violence. They didn't show up here and meet some Indians and say, y'all, let's sit down and we're going to have some fun. No, they violently took this land from the Indians. And that's what people have to understand. But the history books paint a different story. And I'll tell you something. Not once did I read in any of the history books, not once did I read anywhere as I was growing up about the violence, the lynchings, the murders, the shootings that took place against blacks by white mobs, pretty much all over the United States. This was not discussed when I was in school, period. You kind of knew about some of this stuff. We knew about Emmett Till, but we didn't know about the mass amount of murders and shootings. And see, white folks want to pretend like the violence that black folks are going through in their communities, that black folks created this problem. We did not. We know where this problem came. This country, the United States of America, was founded on racist, hate, violence, theft. That's what this country is based off on. Not too hard to understand if you go read. All you gotta do is go read, pick up a history book and read. And I'm not talking about the whitewash version. Get a real history book and read what took place here. You know, so when you got generations of blacks who have severe issues in their communities, from lack of education, violence, You have communities, black folks that were trying to do some things with their lives, and white folks came and snuffed their lives out. So when you continue to snuff out the brightest, most intelligent people out of a race of people, what do you think you have left? You didn't want to sit back and say, well, we don't have nothing to do with what's going on today. Our ancestors, they don't even want to claim their ancestors had anything to do with that. That was real funny because in that article that's in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, I strongly suggest anybody, there was a white man in there talking about how he did some research and found out his own family members were involved with multiple lynchings throughout the Southeast. A history he did not know. See, the vast majority of white folks don't want to accept that their family members were involved in this type of foolishness. That their family members would show up at a mob. I mean, think about it now. You got thousands of white folks showing up at these mobs. Some of these white folks are still alive today, but in nursing homes. I still running around here. I met a lady, a white woman at the gym. She was 72 years of age, so she hadn't been around during that period. And she was 72. She's close to my mother's age. And she was in excellent health. I was shocked when my mom told me she was 72 years of age. So she had to have been born, this is 2018, which is to subtract 72 years. She was born in 1946, right at the height of the lynching things in America. Most of the lynchings, you all need to read that article, because it was from the early 1900s to the 1950s. Where these lynchings and shootings and violence, and that's why we are where we are today in our communities. That's why we are where we are today, because of the violence that was against us by white Americans who will not acknowledge it today. Lynchings is the practice of murder by extrajudicial action. Lynchings in the United States rose in number after the American Civil War in the 1800s, following the emancipation of slaves. They declined in the 1920s, but were recorded well into the 1960s. So that article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on lynchings, I think anybody... You all have got to read it. There's a series of articles, not just one. And when you read that article, those articles, it just says one of them was in Georgia was second in number of lynchings from 1877. White mobs in Georgia resorted to any justification for lynchings. This was one of the articles from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution here in Atlanta. Georgia lynch mobs devise flimsy reasons for taking lives. The motive for hundreds of killings was simple. It was always about power and control. Fear tactics to get other blacks to. So if you look at our community, y'all say, what is wrong with black folks today? When you oppress people using lynchings, shooting, murder, and fear, it goes a long way. And it's still affecting blacks today. I spoke to an idiot police officer yesterday, black guy. Boy, I can tell y'all some stories. I have a lot of friends who are police officers, and over the years, I sit back and say, boy, they got some issues. Disorderly conduct to one man, black man, to the white man, frighten a white woman, the wife of a murderer, the father of a murderer, disputed white men testified against white men for attempted rape of a Negro woman, are among the reasons black people were lynched in Georgia. Let me just read this real briefly. There was John Moody, a farmhand who in 1901 decided to leave his white employer in Bryan County to work for another white farmer. According to newspaper accounts from the time, the first employer, angry, gathered a group of white caps. This is before the Ku Klux Klan started. So they became, this was a precursor of the Ku Klux Klan. They captured Moody, shot him, then hanged him. If he'd been white, the farmer might have sued him, not organized a mob to kill him. This is from a book called A Festival of Violence, an analysis of Southern lynchings from 1882 to 1930. It was a form of labor control. It was white supremacy. There was a case of Jesse Stater, also known as Jesse Slater, who was accused of writing an insolent letter to a white woman and was lynched by a mob in November 1917. And while black men were the most frequent targets of lynch mobs, Mary Turner was but one of many black women who fell prey to the killers. Sisters Uller and Ella Barber were shot to death by a throng of 100 people in Jasper County in January 1915. They, along with their father, Daniel, and brother Jesse, were accused of challenging a sheriff who come to their juke joint. All four were arrested, but the mob rousted them from the jail. Daniel was shot, then hanged. Ulla, Ellie, and Jesse were shot repeatedly until their bodies were nearly in pieces. African Americans could be lynched for everything to anything that a white person could constitute as a threat to white supremacy. Says Carlos K. Hill, the author of Beyond the Rape, the impact of lynching on black culture and memory. If a black man bumped into a white woman, that would be construed as an affront to white supremacy. If he glanced at her too long, the idea was that he violated her, that he attempted to rape her. The glance was an affront to white supremacy by looking at a woman he should not even be looking at. Whites jealous over African American property ownership could prompt a lynching. So it really depends on the whims of the white people. So they can lynch you for anything back then. Pay close attention, they're still doing it today. Hey, I'm not going to read it. You all need to read this article. Y'all need to start. This was a very well-written article in Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It's a series about lynchings. You can just Google lynchings or Atlanta Journal-Constitution or ajc.com, and the articles will pop up. All this is about, the whole purpose of the article is to introduce you to the museum that opened in Montgomery, Alabama on April 26th, about the that's dedicated to the lynchings of black folks in this country. So yeah, it's just very interesting. The lynching memorial in Montgomery, which I'm gonna try to get my behind over there in the next few days, because I would like to see Mary Turner's lynching, savage, horrific, chillingly common. So let me read this about Mary Turner, who was lynched. The new memorial in Montgomery recalls the killings of 5,000 people during lynchings. Where's Mary Turner? All right, so it says here, so Mary Turner knew she was about to die. It was May 19th, 1918, almost exactly 100 years ago. The lynch mob in Brooks County had already tortured and killed 8 black men in 2 days, a retaliation for the shooting death of a white planter. Turner's husband, Hayes, was one of the dead. What happened to him and what would happen to Mary reflected the brutal social order of the day. The foundation of the South was white supremacy. And when you start getting challenges to social and economic order, then you start moving forward toward things that support the old order. Blacks weren't seen as part of the community. They were seen as a necessary foreign labor. The white folks were the community. And when those boundaries begin to break down, then you begin to see the violence. As the mob carried Mary Turner to the Little River, which serves as the border of Brooks and Lowlands County, they took her past the tree where they mutilated and then hanged her husband. His body was still suspended there. Near the Folsom Bridge, they hung Mary Turner upside down by her They hung her upside down by her ankles across the sturdy limb of an oak tree, doused her body with gasoline, and burned her clothes off. That was just the beginning. This is one of the more heinous and brutal ones in the forms of butchering people. What was Mary Turner's crime? Arguing that her husband was not involved in the murder that they killed him for, having the audacity to complain about his lynching, and saying that she reported the names of the men who killed him, or as the media reported at the time, making unwise remarks. The first recorded lynching in Georgia was in 1880 in Clayton County. There was no known reason for the death of Millie Thompson, and it is unclear whether Thompson was male or female. The last recorded lynching was David Jackson, who was killed in McDuffie County in 1961. The reason for his death is also unknown. So it's a very interesting article. I strongly recommend that people read it so you can get an understanding. There's a lot to read here. There's just a whole lot to read. But back to this video by Childish Gambino and Donald Glover. Donald Glover are the same people, person. I think he got it right. But I don't think he didn't show us some lynchings in that damn video. Maybe he did, so maybe I missed it. There was so much shit going on in that damn video. It's probably different than any music video I've ever seen. Seems to be, I've heard the song being played on the radio. Maybe people will learn from it. Maybe it will open their minds to discussion. I don't know. It just makes you wonder. We've accepted violence as normal because we've been through so much as a race of people here in the United States. And so we think violence in our community, because so much violence has been done to us as a race of people here for absolutely nothing. The violence continues today against one another for absolutely nothing. The violence that takes place here in Atlanta, Chicago, and all these urban cities, it's over nothing. We shooting to kill each other, oh, absolutely nothing. This woman, like I said, this kid lost his life over a Facebook post. What could they have posted in a Facebook post that required a crowd of people to go to someone's home and create this mayhem and then shoot up the house, killing a 6-year-old kid? Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. So just like watching that video, maybe for a lot of folks, the video won't make sense to some people. And if you need to have it explained to them, I didn't need nobody explain that video to me. I watched it one time, and I knew exactly what this man was talking about, and I listened to those lyrics. All I had to hear that the title of the song, "This Is America," and I said, okay, well, we got that right. I don't know if America will ever change. You can't change a country of people who will not even acknowledge what is taking place here. You have that museum in Montgomery, Alabama open, and whites have been complaining about it. So they're taking their asses over there and saying, oh boy, we got to deal with this. And really taking a look around. They didn't even want it open. Because it would be acknowledging what they've done, or what their ancestors did, and what they continue to do today. In 2018, America still ain't a great place for black folks. I don't care what nobody said. It's a place where you have to struggle. And if you're not a smart person, you may not survive here very well. I look around and a lot of people I know, they're not surviving very well here. It's never meant for you to survive here in this country very well. Never. And you never will be. At some point in time, Americans have to be torn apart. So we have to be a civil war that's going to take place to rip this country apart, to remove the power. Why do you think they're going after these Hispanics so aggressively now? Because they realize they're losing ground. And they're trying to hold on. But it won't help. There's going to be America is so messed up right now with, you got so many people who are filthy rich in this country and so many people who are dirt poor, who far outnumber the people filthy rich. When you look at the homelessness problem nationwide and people just acting like they don't see it exist, this is going to get bad. And it's going to rip this country apart. I was on that cruise trip. I remember talking to this white woman who said she was a Christian and she didn't want her tax money going towards abortion. I had to ask her, do you mind your tax money going to support these babies being born into the world? You don't want your money going towards abortion, but are you cool with it being spent towards the care and education of this child? She didn't say nothing. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You're against abortion and you're against government help for food stamps, welfare, and whatever else they might need, or any type of educational program. Well, them rich white folks on that ship I was sitting on. But anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We already know what America is about. If you don't know what America is about, go back and watch that video again and keep watching it, and then go read something. Learn something about this country that we live in. So many of us just walk around here in a daze and have no clue how you got here. How Niggerville was created. I keep telling y'all, the white folks are the architects of Niggerville. They built it. and it's going to be up to them to tear it down. They built it for a reason, but they have not come back for any reason to destroy it. Anyway, if you like my videos, click like, share them with family members and friends. Today it is May 10th, the year is 2018. Today is Thursday, May 10th, 2018. I'm out of here and enjoy your day.
This is a take one. We're going to do a full run through. All cameras should be sunk on this